Now, the purpose of this video is really to tell you that these are the things that you have to practice and that you have to make sure you are working on so that you'll become more successful in your endeavor in this very saturated world now of freelancing. Like in whatever industry, you will find that there are so many who are already interested in freelancing because of, what happened in the pandemic. A lot of people want to have their flexibility and also want to be able to work from home, remotely, or from anywhere. Now, the first thing I think personally is one of the most important is your English communication skills. Why not another language? Well, you already know that with freelancing, most of your clients are going to be internationally based or based in the other side of the world. Can mean America or Australia or the UK, anywhere, but not here in the Philippines, right? So being able to communicate in English well and being able to express yourself in English well will really give you that leverage and advantage and the edge among other applicants because you know how to sell yourself and you know how to explain what you can contribute to the company of your client or what you can offer in terms of skills and experience, right? So if you are not really good in communicating in English, even though you are super experienced and you're probably the expert, you will still find yourself at a disadvantage at some point because some other people out there may not be too good with what they're doing, but they're really good with communicating what they can do. And clients will believe them for sure, right? I think it's like the first step in everything. You should be able to communicate whatever it is that you are going to do for the client. And of course, during interviews, you will be communicating with your foreign clients and it will be harder to sell yourself or explain your experience or what you're doing if you're unable to express yourself well in English. Maybe this is not your strength, then it's okay. You'll have to spend some time practicing every day until you finally feel confident about your English communication skills. Obviously, this will not happen overnight like what I always explain in my past videos, but there's no time. You don't have time to wait until you get better at it. You just really have to start working on it and, sometimes just go for it, right? But before actually submitting yourself to this entire ordeal of interviewing, speaking with clients in a foreign language, prepare, okay? The least you can do is really prepare, get ready, make sure that you know some possible interview questions and, practice selling yourself in English. I would also suggest you write down your thoughts on paper in English as a way of practicing and then read your thoughts, read what you wrote on paper over and over again until you feel like you're at least a little bit more confident in speaking or in communicating what you can offer to your client. All right. Another thing is being proactive. You cannot always wait for your clients to tell you what to do. You are hired because of your experience, right? And a lot of clients don't really have time to train you. So they expect that you already at least know what to do in basic situations or common situations. They expect for you to put out the initiative to start doing something that will make the company better, especially if that is a startup. Another thing is that even though they don't tell you exactly what to do, you still have to come prepared with other alternatives or suggestions that will make the company better. You have to be wise with how you resolve a particular issue because, again, you're hired by the client because they know that you have something to bring to the table. So if you just wait for them to tell you what to do, then it just defeats the purpose of hiring you in the first place. If you're also seeing an area where you can contribute and you know that it will greatly impact your work, it will add value to your job, then feel free to communicate that to the client instead of being shy and maybe thinking that it's not your place to tell them what to do. Sometimes it just really depends on how you communicate it. So politely tell your client what else you think can make the job better or can make the process or the systems better. And I'm sure that your client will appreciate that. That being said, you also have to be careful not to overstep your boundaries, because sometimes, you enter a company that has already started creating its own department. So if it is something that's not really part of your department, but you still think can be helpful for the seamless communication of the company, then might be best to speak with the head of that department and ask the current situation, see where you can offer your help, but not going in there and changing their process and their systems completely, because that will just create tension. You are in your specific department, and in another department, they also will probably do their own thing. That if you want to help them out with something, then just communicate that you are willing to help in this particular aspect, and I'm sure they will appreciate that. Again, just make sure that you know your boundaries, you're not crossing anybody's line, because they also have their own tasks and responsibilities, right? The next thing is patience. Like, be patient with everything from your job application, speaking with clients, dealing with people of different cultures, because obviously you're going to speak with someone from another country, time zones that will make you probably a bit impatient because it affects your sleeping habits, your eating habits, all of those. Especially when you're joining a startup or a company that's bootstrapped, the funds are tight. You might be an all-around person. You might be doing the job of 3 people, like what I am doing now. But for me personally, if I am doing the job of 3 people, but I'm adequately paid for it, then yes, I will consider. After working with startups for so long now, I think that's just pretty much what's happening, as they are still working on their finances and working on funding the next person who can help. So you have to have a lot of patience in that, because sometimes you may feel that you are doing a lot of things and not getting any help. But it's just really the nature of freelancing. Sometimes the jobs and the job descriptions actually overlap. But don't worry, because when the startup grows, there will also be opportunity to hire more people to help you. And again, it's just really a matter of knowing what you can accept as a freelancer, and also knowing your boundaries. Like, if this is something that's already really beyond your expertise, or something that is already affecting your workload, you're burning out, then of course, feel free to tell your client or your management about it, right? I'd also like to add that you also need to be patient with the process, the workflows, the systems, because these things might not be set up properly just yet, because you're still starting the company, or maybe that no one can actually do it at the moment. Maybe you're the best person to do it, we never know. But if you think that coming into the company, everything is already well established, like in an actual corporation, a multinational company, then you are wrong. You will actually be coming in the company doing the job yourself, in most cases, of course. And lastly, when it comes to communication, you also have to be patient, because you are communicating with people who do not have the same background and culture as what we have. And what I would say is that you have to step back a little and really get a general understanding of what the other person is telling you. Sometimes what this person is telling you might hurt you because you're just not used to hearing it as a Filipino. But for that person, it's actually just normal. It's the same thing. Like, we might say something to a foreigner or our foreign colleague that may hurt them, but it's also just nothing to us. Like, it's just okay to us, right? So I would say, come to the job with a greater understanding that we may not have the same, wavelength in most cases, but you have to strive to understand better and really ask yourself, am I understanding this person correctly? Maybe this person means something else that I'm just not getting it. Maybe it's me, I'm not able to interpret what this person is communicating. So that's what I'm trying to do every time I feel like my foreign colleague is saying something that's off for me, or that is something I don't understand. I always just tell myself that maybe he means it in a different way or in a good way. Maybe that's not his intention. The next quality that you should have is being resourceful. Most of the time, you will be left on your own to do the things that you have probably never done before. Like you haven't figured it out, but because you're probably the first hire, second or third in the company, your client will just give you a few notes here and there, and it's up to you to make sense of everything. Like there are things that you haven't figured out, but you have to because it's just part of the job. And if there's anything you don't know, I would say be the best researcher. Most of the things that you don't know are already in the internet. So have that mindset of always be learning and always be looking for, what else you can do. And your client, of course, will expect you to come up with something. But if there's anything like absolutely out of your, understanding, it's okay to admit that you are unable to find the answer for it. It's going to be a collaboration, hopefully between you and your client. Next thing, and very important, is definitely time management. You have to learn to prioritize what is urgent, what's important, what's not urgent, what's not important. And if you're not sure whichever task you want to do first, you have to ask your client and confirm which one takes the most priority and which one needs to be done with urgency. If you're planning to work with more than one client, it's all the more important to have good time management skills because you're just one person now doing a lot of different tasks at the same time. And if you lack planning skills, time management, it could be chaotic and you can crash and burn. All right. Now, you still have to make sure, of course, that you're delivering your work at the highest quality possible, even with like more than one client. But just again, if it needs to be done, it has to be done. And if that's something that you would usually forget, make use of digital calendars, maybe even paper planners. It's up to you what you want to use. Just make sure that you put everything down on paper or, on your digital notebook or whatever, just for you to ensure that you are able to deliver what you need to do to your different clients. The last thing that we want to do is for clients to have a bad impression because, we're not able to submit our deliverables on time. Last but not the least is be discerning. It's important to have good judgment when it comes to choosing clients, choosing projects, and choosing the work that you want to do. I do have a lot of different videos about that. You can just go to my work from home playlist, and I've explained like choosing your client and things like that on those previous videos. At first, you may want to grab every opportunity that comes your way for the sake of course, additional income and experience, right? Like, who would not do that? But eventually, you will learn that you have to be picky with these clients and projects. You have to choose the ones that really align with your values and the things that you really want to do. And then eventually, you will learn to choose the ones that are worth it, okay? You will learn to choose the ones that do not align with your career goals. And that is okay, even though it means maybe less pay, right? But if it's something that you really want to do in your career, then go for it. So have that good judgment. And you will learn that as you work with one client, two clients, and as you move along in your freelancing journey. Once you have saved up enough money, then you will have more freedom to choose the clients you want to work with. And always remember never to compromise your health and well-being for the sake of money and other shiny objects. Of course, it does not apply to everyone. Like sometimes we really just have to put in the hustle, the hard work, even when we feel sick, because we really need the extra funds. But again, this is not the norm. This is not the standard. For me, I'm putting the standard to myself that I have to do things and projects that really align with what I want to do. And if it's beginning to make me miserable, then it's not worth it to stay in that project. I hope that made you think about the things that you have to prepare for when you enter the freelancing world. And I hope you've learned something. So if you have any questions and other recommendations, suggestions for topics of freelancing and anything, then make sure to comment below and I'll make sure to reply.